And I want to specifically acknowledge all the Lady Cajun softball team, the most important people here in the room. I have known Coach Lotief for many years. We began coaching Little League Baseball together in minority subdivisions, and we got to know each other and always admired his passion, his tenacity, and his unbelievable drive to get things done. And I've known him not only as a friend, but also as a fellow lawyer, and then later as an unbelievable softball coach. I used to tell him I really taught him everything that he knew, and then he took it at a much higher level than what I knew, obviously. But I do want to acknowledge everyone being here. I have been essentially kind of following the developments from a little bit of away because I've been tied up in some other matters. And I'll introduce shortly my partner, Glenn Edwards, who will speak to some of the things that led up to this day that I think are very, very important that the community understands and realizes how we got to this point. So in the interest of full transparency, I will introduce Glenn shortly to give everyone what I think is really important background information. I did, however, I must say, I read the statement released by the university this afternoon. And I have to say, I am really shocked and amazed how completely false, misleading, and slanderous that statement is to Coach Lotief and his family, and frankly, more importantly, to the ladies that make up the Lady Cajun softball program. To suggest in any way that they came forward to support what led to this termination. I think in the interest of transparency, the public needs to know what has happened and what got to this point. And with that, I'll turn it over to Glenn Edwards.
Thank you, Jack. My name is Glenn Edwards. I'm a local attorney, and together with Jack, I'm here today on behalf of Coach Michael Lotief. As all of you are no doubt aware, Coach Lotief was advised earlier today that he's terminated. Let me begin today on a personal note as well. I'm a graduate of UL, which was actually UL for one semester in spring of 1984. I wasn't born here, but after spending 4 years at USL and UL before going to law school at LSU, I knew I would return. I did, and practicing law in this community has been my vocation for 30 years. I have supported the university with my time as a volunteer coach for the water ski team, raised money, and built a national championship program through sweat and hard work. I've given my own money during those 30 years, and I must say today is a sad day for my alma mater. It's not where you or anyone else comes down on what they believe or don't believe about what caused this day to come. It's about the fact that my university, which exudes all of the warmth and love that is Acadiana and the Cajun culture, has completely mishandled a situation that results in the smearing of a family's reputation. Not only the Lotiefs, but Coach Lotief has been advised that many, if not all, of his entire staff members are being terminated today as well. I've known Mike Lotief since 1989. He's always been a man of kindness, dignity, integrity, and most of all, generosity. He and Stephanie have given more than 20 years of their lives to the university at great financial sacrifice to themselves, entering a program and working for a pittance, raising money, building a program, and supporting the university softball program to the premier organization it is today. As recently as this summer, He received a glowing evaluation from the athletic department, a bonus which he and Stephanie donated back to the program. They loved him. And now this. Again, it's a sad day for the university. As our office indicated in a previous press release, this matter arose out of a passionate discussion between Coach Lotief and several other persons within the university's athletic department, where he complained of gender equality issues adversely affecting UL's female athletes, specifically the softball team. As all of you know, he and Stephanie have advocated for the rights of female athletes at the university their entire careers. In response to a complaint of at least one participant in the conversation, Coach Lotief was immediately placed on administrative leave, even though the written statements obtained about the conversation present completely divergent descriptions of what occurred. During the following days, Coach Lotief voluntarily appeared 3 times to answer questions of the university's HR department. In large part, the questioning was conducted by a university attorney. At the last meeting of these 3 meetings, where I was present with Coach Lotief, he was again questioned by the university's attorney. We did not refuse to answer a single question. We were advised then that the university's HR department would conclude the investigation and make recommendations for action to present to Dr. Savoy. We were told that we would be provided a copy of that report to comment upon before a final decision was made. That was not done. Prior to the last meeting I had with Coach Lotief in the HR department, Coach Lotief had not even been provided a copy of any of the statements against him, nor was he provided a copy of any additional documents which had been gathered against him in what we believe is retaliation for his urging gender equality concerns on behalf of his players. When we insisted that we be provided documents at our last meeting, we were allowed to see certain documents momentarily before the questioning of Coach Lotief resumed, and we were told that we could not make copies of documents, take pictures of documents, or communicate with any of the witnesses. After Coach Lotief's initial meeting with HR, he was advised he would likely receive a call the next day and that he would probably be put back to work immediately. With no further discussion for days, he was called back to HR and ambushed by cross-examination at length by a university attorney with allegations from persons identified only as former players on a subject matter completely separate from the matter addressed in his initial meeting with HR. Following Coach Lotief being placed on leave and without prior notice, he was questioned with hearsay statements made by an assistant athletic director with the university recounting alleged conversations with former athletes no longer on the team who allegedly made complaints about Coach Lotief from seasons past. We believe that this information was only brought forward to retaliate against Coach Lotief for bringing gender equity concerns to the athletic department, which you know is under new leadership. If the notes delivered by Jessica Clark-Leger, Assistant AD, to HR accurately reflect complaints received by her, Coach Lotief has denied those allegations. We have reason to believe, however, that in some instances the statements were coerced and are otherwise unreliable. To our knowledge, the university in its investigation did not even attempt to interview other athletes who would have been witnesses to the allegations forming the substance of the complaints. Moreover, as you also know, one of the assistant softball coaches was fired earlier this week, we believe, for attempting to secure from the players statements about their experience with Coach Lotief. Wanting to be heard, as the university has denied their voice, the current players released a letter to KATC yesterday which speaks for itself. Neither our office nor Coach Lotief had anything to do with the attempt to gather statements from current players or their sending a letter. They apparently just wanted their voices heard. Less than 24 hours from their attempt to do that, and without any further investigation from the university, Coach Lotief was fired. Before and since our last meeting with the HR department, various persons within the university have leaked to fans and boosters their intention to terminate Coach Lotief. Knowing that, we reached out to the university through a prominent supporter of the university, requesting an opportunity to discuss or mediate the issues before us. That request was flatly rejected, and the termination of Coach Lotief followed today. This morning, Coach Lotief received a text message from Dr. Savoy's assistant demanding that he meet with Dr. Savoy this afternoon at 1:30, even though Coach Lotief had a scheduling conflict. He offered to meet tomorrow. Dr. Savoy refused and said his appearance was demanded, so he met with Dr. Savoy at 1:30 this afternoon. Coach Lotief was fired by HR Director Paul Thomas, and the press release announcing his termination was made before he even left the meeting, even though he would be told that the release would come later this afternoon or tomorrow. We want the people to know that we believe there is a culture of vengeance being developed within the university's athletic department directed at persons who would seek to promote the rights of female athletes assured them under federal law. Current athletes, in statements made before the university's decision, but not received by the university, flatly deny the allegations suggested in the university's press release today. Coach Lotief is here to make a statement as well before we take any questions. Coach?